Today we are talking about, well, you all know it is an issue that is bothering from the military end, our military hierarchy, our Nigerian Army, Air Force, Navy, following the prodding by President Donald Trump. Yes, President Donald Trump, he prodded Nigeria into taking some action, and he assisted us at least to some percentage, and some achievements, some successes were made. And now, well, we have been hearing after some times, after some successes, you will see that another incident occurred: kidnappings, maimings, killings, taking over of villages and all those. Well, the military, some will fall victim to the terrorist attacks, terrorists, bandits, and all those who are always termed criminals. Yes, criminals and killers. So, yes, well, along the line, the federal government, during, I think about some months back, they alleged that some terrorists, which along the line, as we are talking now, as we will be talking, we will be discussing, I don't really know whether they are the real people carrying out these atrocities. But what I have in the house today, Olufemi Adeniton, Esquire, legal practitioner and conflicts expert. Yes. You are very much welcome to the program.
Thank you, Bimbo, for having me this afternoon with the two of yours.
Yes, thank you very much. And yes, I have this great man. I've known him for a long time. Comrade Nkadinero is the chairman, correspondent chapel of the Oyo State Nigeria Union of Journalists. Comrade, you are welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. It's good to be here again.
Yes. I haven't invited you at the time, but maybe my producer invited you now, and this is the first time I'm seeing you on the program.
Thank you for sharing this platform with me. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Yes. And I'll be back on this, my name. And of course, yes, you can check us up on our platforms. You can watch BCOS TV live on Star Times, channel 113, Go TV, channel 134, terrestrial, channel 28 UHF. And of course, that's streaming on facebook.com/BCOS TV, YouTube, BCOS TV, YouTube channel. You can join us. Check us there. Nobody, no station beats that reach. Yes, like we always say, no station beats the reach. Now, from a legal standpoint, let us just begin from that. From a legal standpoint, like I said the other time, 5,000 terrorism cases, 5,000 inmates now being tried. What structural issues led to the accumulation of over 5,000 terrorism cases over the years, and nothing has been done? And how are we sure that they are the real point men, those that carry out the dastardly acts?
All right. Thank you so much, Bimbo, for having me this afternoon. So, firstly, remember, Boko Haram came up. Let's try to chronicle the genesis where this problem started from, right? So, it started like a normal fundamentalist group.
Yes, led by Mohammed Yusuf.
Yusuf, yeah. Of course, we saw them as they continue to grow over the time, right? So, they started maybe later on as a freedom fighter, as if they have an agitation. Then it became an ideology. Then thereafter, we started discovering that they became a fundamentalist group, then grown into a terrorist organization, which have sadly unleashed various havoc into the Nigerian space, right? So, and over the years, we've seen the kind of political will in terms of the attorney generals we've had of Nigeria, right? We are the previous one, which is Abubakar Malami. Of course, a lot of arrest was made, and we've not really seen any public kind of commendation like we have seen in this current administration. So this is not to say that perhaps everything is all sorted, right? Because if you go to the field or you speak with those who are on the front line, which is the soldiers who've sacrificed a whole lot. And they said a lot of things are also ongoing on the field, right? That also point or allude to the fact that not much is being done or what is expected according to the fact, even the morals, including sometimes they even want an expedited process, right? So because when you catch someone in the act of committing a terror, right, terrorism kind of a case like that, what you expect is that a speedy process of the justice system, right? So like you earlier alluded in your earlier remark, of course, it was due to the President Trump's kind of nudge that actually gave a little bit shift. So what have we witnessed with the current administration under the new Attorney General? Yes, we've seen the kind of wield in terms of the law, and of course the Terrorism Prevention Act is being tested in this scenario, and we've started seeing that a whole lot of convictions have been made, particularly to those who are kind of sympathizers, sponsors, people who do business with these terrorists, right? So we also want to start seeing the core people, right? Of course, there are some lists that was actually being issued or released to Nigeria by the Turkish government at some point to Nigeria. How far have we gone with that list? Are there also some other key people who are part of the financiers within the government that oftentimes we hear people make those allegations on or make those statements on those people, right? So we also have to go for those people, those who are conflict entrepreneurs or sympathizers or sponsors within the government or within across the rank and file. They may not be international, right? Yes. So we want to see a more transparent and a due process to be followed. But yes, we commend the judicial process for how we've seen the Justice Binta Yaku's court in Abuja, Federal Court, has done this kind of conviction. But yes, we want to see more conviction, and I would like it to see an overrun. But one other thing I was going to say, sorry for going this route, is that we've also seen parallel to that a whole lot of pardons, right? I don't know if you saw that the Sanctions Committee have also granted over 700 Boko Haram members pardon. So we see that there's no consistency, or it's not kind of coherent with the way and manner the justice system is. While you are trying some, you are pardoning others. You are trying to rehabilitate them. So it does not seem like an harmonized process, right? So the DDRO kind of approach we are adopting, which is disarmament, demobilization, and reintegration, does not seem to capture every assumption, right? So it seems like some group of people seems to have some kind of preferential treatment, while others will have to go through the strict provisions of the law.
Comrade, at the end of the day, do you think that these people, these criminals that are undergoing trial now, don't you think they will they will receive amnesty so at the end of the day?
Well, we're not in any position to call them criminals yet. They are suspects. That's why they are in court. Only the court of competent jurisdiction has the right to say they are criminals after they might have been found guilty. Yes, it's good that there is a trial going on, but that is for the court. The question is, what is the court of public opinion saying about it? You're saying people are facing trial in the face of the law. What happened to the victim of their actions or their inactions? The innocent lives were losing on the side of citizens, peace lovers who are in their communities, going about their daily bread, also losing on the part of the military operatives, Nigerian asset and investment. We're losing resources. And now we say they are facing trials. I'm just trying to find the moral basis for this. If there's anything, and to make the matter worse, this kind of trial, as it is being coordinated by the National Counterterrorism Center, it's not an open trial that people, journalists, people can actually have access to monitor, hear them. What are they going to say? We only hear of the outcome. They just really being a special court.
Just like a court martial.
This kind of thing. So, I'm trying to look at the moral basis for it. And now, to make it your view, they might even receive pardon. The question for me is, the number of those who have been de-radicalized under the policy, the program that I think President Goodluck Jonathan introduced at the time to de-radicalize some of these terrorists, due to agitation. The government came up with this policy due to agitation, using the case of the Niger Delta militants
Yes.
as a template to say, okay, let's also see how we can imbibe them. The question is, since that policy has been adopted, you're talking about amnesty already. Is this beating down the level of the record of crimes, criminalities, that we keep recording as the number of people being killed? Look at the social media. I was watching one yesterday, and these guys are just showing off huge sum of money. It's in the news today. They are demanding about 1 billion for a set of people kidnapped somewhere. So either they get amnesty, or you try to de-radicalize them and bring them back into the society. The question for me is has it worked? Are we getting the desired result? The people in Benue, the people in this north central part of the country that are being terrorized on a daily basis, can they say this is working for them? What is the court saying? What is the court of public opinion saying? That is the concern for me this morning.
Yes, I want to ask just this simple question. Like we said, the integration, they said they will be integrated with the police, into the army, and some other security agencies after maybe proper counseling and all those. Now, do you think it is right? Because I know in some countries, some criminals that they know, yes, do's and don'ts of the criminality world, they know where to go. And when caught, after interrogations, he repents, he serves some, terms in jail, and after coming out, he will be reintegrated to the police or the army because they know that it will lead them to. I think that is my opinion. I think that's what the federal government is thinking, that if they reintegrate some of these terrorists into the Nigerian army, they might lead them to some, locations.
Yes, I think the word here is they might. I'm a firm believer in giving people a second chance. But my experience over the years has shown that there are certain people, when you give them a second chance, it's like giving them extra bullets to put in their rifle to shoot at you again.
Okay, so
sorry. So we give them opportunity to even aiming at you again. Maybe the first time they did it wasn't very successful. That's why they caught them. And they said, give them another chance. The question is, the people that have been reintegrated into the security apparatus, how have they helped in fighting insecurity? The reports that some of these guys are even the spy for some of this attack. They leak information. Some of them, after you reintegrate them into society, or give them federal government money, give them federal government job, give them pardon and all of, they go out again. They go back to their vomit. So for me, we shouldn't just say, it's going to work for everybody. Maybe a certain percentage. If this is not working, what are we doing? What are we not doing rightly? What are we doing that we're not supposed to do? And that is why, you feel somebody, you're due to be killed. You're supposed to be killed, but just say, okay, because of your level of involvement, get amnesty, come back into the society, live a normal life. The point is still that some of these people will reintegrate into the society. Some of their victims feel very bad psychologically. What have we done about them? The society, they sent the owners of the society, who now live in IDP camps,
yes,
with their homes and the property, everything burnt. And now the same society you are integrating them into.
And giving them some
of money for whatever. What happened to those who are the victims? So for me, you look at, I say, a kind of moral conflict in some of these things. The policy we need to look at is, what is working? What do we need? The people who are in IDP, is that what they want to do as a result of being Nigerian, as a result of falling victim for the heavy act of some of these guys? Considering bringing them back into the society, I do not think the society will really have trust in them. Just the way the security apparatus that we integrate them into, they're already also exposing. That's what I think.
Okay, so just to add to what my colleague just said now, of course, what the program is called, Disarmament, Demobilization, and Reintegration, that's under the United Nations kind of program. So there's usually like those who are supposed to do those kind of programs are supposed to be perhaps be trained under the United Nations. So basically that kind of intervention has been used in various countries like in Sierra Leone, in Liberia, where they were kind of civil war within those countries. And before you carry out that kind of program, you must roll it out by DDRO officer. Of course, it has to be within a timeline. So you don't just roll it in phases. So it's going to be like, we are going to conduct a DDR program. There must be a criteria before that can even be done. One, the suspect or those persons, those kind of terror, must be able to provide maybe their guns, bullets. Usually the criteria is to have about 99 bullets. You have the guns. You have to have some sensitive information to share with the government, or to hands-on, or to show that you are ready to go through the de-radicalization process, the radicalization phase, right? So that is usually the criteria. I'm a DDR officer trained by the United Nations. You have to follow through that process before it should be allowed, right? So my concern will be that do they really have the DDR officer who understand the criteria before that kind of programs or interventions are usually done? What we have seen is that certain group of persons are being integrated, certain group of persons face trial. So you see, it's not the kind of system is not uniform. It seems to be disjointed, kind of. So my concern now will be that if Nigeria is ready to absorb these people, or to allow them to go through that phase, the last hour will be the return, right? So some of them are from Burkina Faso, some of them are from Mali, some are from Chad. So you have to send them back to where they are coming from. So rather than you bringing them into their, and again, I said somewhere elsewhere that there are some sensitive positions or sensitive portfolios that you don't bring in someone who is suspected to have fought against the state or against the institution of the state, such as the legal profession should not be, anyone who has been a convict should not be allowed to come into that, such as the army, the navy, all these kind of sensitive military positions, right? So what are we saying here is that if there will be a kind of eradication program, of course, that's the non-kinetic approach, which I think within the defense headquarters is trying to come up with, right? So because not every time you go through the kinetics and you want to use by force and everything, right? I understand that, of course, a lot of the ripple effect of conflict and the drivers and every other thing may have caused so much hardship on the people. However, there's still need for us, if you have to conduct an integration program with digital phase, it has to be uniform, and it's going to be a timeline. Within the space of 3 months, we are doing this and we shut the window down. So it's going to be across nationwide, and when anyone who does not follow through that window, then the state would have to switch in for prosecution. So that's my own taking within the field.
Yes. What I want to ask now, those 5,000
yes.
that are rapidly, being tried, are they the real?
Some have been convicted.
Bandits?
Some have been convicted. Over 300 have been convicted.
Yes, are they the real ones that are carrying the guns, and doing the bombings, kidnappings, and all those?
Yeah, from the evidence available or from the record of proceedings available, of course, we've seen that some of them are linked to the main perpetrators of this terror attack, where they have moved from being suspects to being criminals, right? So, because we've seen recent convictions, like I just said in my earlier statement in the Justice Binta's court, where we've already convicted the whole lot of the Attorney General have convicted the whole lot of some of them, right? So, but what we want to see is a more expedited process, accelerated process, where they get their conviction once they have been arraigned in court.
Yeah, let me ask you, complaint. Do the courts, are they well equipped for this kind of speedy trial?
Well, I would have said that question should go to BBO, really. But in the special court, I suppose the National Counterterrorism Center that is in charge of this program, I'm sure they have all it takes. But just the concern here is that do they have the structure? Nigeria is not just one local village somewhere that would not follow international procedure, international standard for such a policy. However, what worries me about this is it is a policy that we have tried sometimes ago in this same country during the period of the militants, and we got results. I remember in those days, you see these guys coming out with their equipment, rifles, bullets. They came from the creek, they brought it out in the open, cameras were there. Even some claim that those ones they brought, they are the expired ones. that the main ones are still there. It doesn't matter. But they still brought something and people got scared that, wow, your arsenal is this deep. You know, this is what we're talking about. So that's what we're talking about. We're talking about 5,000, trial of 5,000. Don't forget, they are still suspect. About 1,238 or thereabout have been discharged on the ground that there's no evidence to nail them. So this 5,000, just like you're raising concern, we're not sure. Are they the errand boys? Are they those that are just linked? The brains behind this thing, the ones that call the shots, the ones that mobilize the people, who knows about the financing, what is happening to them? These are high-profile cases that people want to hear. So this 5,000 is just, are we sure that even some people are not just even innocent? So we're not sure. It's just 5,000 trial. Until the conclusion of this trial, then we'll know how many people would have been convicted. So for me, 5,000 suspects facing trial. Until after the conclusion of the matter, then we know, okay, these are those that have no evidence to nail them. What would you, just like your concern, nothing to nail them. I was just going, they just called me. I was just trying to seize the opportunity, try to steal something, and you know the military. So it is a legitimate concern that these 5,000 are they the people. Let's even assume that these 5,000 today they are sent to jail on account that they are guilty. How will that help this fight? How will that lead to the arrest of the brains behind these boys? The way they arrest these 5,000, they have their own mechanism of recruiting others. If we're not looking at, we're just concerned about, okay, these ones that we've arrested, we want them to face trial. Yes. What about the method? How do they recruit people? These 5,000, he pointed out, some of them came from neighboring countries. What do we do? What do we have to do? How do we cut their recruitment process? How do they get in people? What were they told to the point that you're ready to carry harm against your state, against the people, innocent people, farmers, going about their daily bread? In the period of the Niger Delta militants, they only attack national assets.
Yes.
They don't kill people. They don't go about burning villages on account of we want ransom or whatever. They send their message directly to the federal government. They don't threaten that. But we look at how many communities have been sent into extinction. The level of the damage that we record in those parts of the country is going to take decades before they get back to the point to which they send them backward. So this is a legitimate concern. Yes, this 5,000, let's even hear it. But I think the members of the public are even more interested in hearing something about the high-profile ones, the financiers, the big money bags, the ones that are pushing, the ones that are recruiting, financing it, buying this equipment, buying these ammunitions for them. The public who are waiting want to hear something about that.
Yes, at some point, I was thinking that, like you said, who are those people financing them? And I know there are big wigs, some in government, some outside Nigeria. Yeah. Now, the federal government pledged at the time that it will publish the names of those financiers. That was about sometimes last year. And I told my colleague, Tola Teriba, during one of our programs in the morning's conversation, I said, that list will never come out. And we are yet to see that list of those financiers. And I know they have been financed from outside too. I watched eclipse. One helicopter just came. One Apache helicopter came into one forest. I can't remember the name of that forest now. Dropped some bags, some cartons inside one hollow bush, and just left. And we have military bases around. Nothing is happening. Do you think there are compromises?
Okay, so just to reflect on what you said, of course, the federal government has released some names, right? So that's about 48 names or thereabout, right? Samuel Ekpa is one of the... Is it 48, right? I think Samuel Ekpa is one of the...
Samuel Ekpa, one that was
we finished
in
Finland.
Yes.
Yes, and we have the likes of... In the past, we didn't see anything like that, right? So it's even... I'm just going to say that sometimes, again, when you see a little bit of success, you just say, well, at least different from when Malami was there, right? Yeah. As the former Attorney General, right? He didn't really do a lot of things, and that's why he's also facing his own charge as well. So back to your question. What's the question again? Maybe you asked the question properly.
Will that
Yes,
list,
yes.
the full list, be released. Let the full list be
Yeah,
released. If they are convicted, let them arrest them and convict them, and we'll know the list.
Yeah, so the conviction is what we want to see and what everyone is quite interested in, right? So we want to see a more speedy process. Remember again that terrorism generally is global, right?
Yes.
So it goes beyond just the Nigerian space, right? So the war in Iran and in Israel, right?
Israel.
One of the justification for why Trump even attacked Iran in the first time was that the supreme leader was kind of giving some kind of support to terrorist cells, right? So again,
And building nuclear weapons.
Again, so we see now that there's also a move across, even in Libya, right? Small arms, light weapon, keep moving to the Sahel region. Now we've seen infiltration across the border. What is actually going across our border is kind of porous, right?
Yes.
So between the border within Chad, with the Lake Chad region, there's a whole lot of crisis going on across, right? So that place is kind of like a ghost area now, right? So the Chad from Cameroon down to Cameroon, Chad, and all of that, with Niger, that whole axis is not actually safe. So what is a coordinated approach by the Nigerian government towards the Sahelian states and towards those countries across that region to ensure that the movement of persons across that border, they don't have like an influx of these migrants, because of course Nigeria is part of a signatory to the ECOWAS protocol, which allow the movement of persons, even the movement of animals, right, to move freely. And again, there's going to be a much problem, even if we are willing to curb or prevent terrorism within our borders, right? If we do it like in Ibadan, if they don't do it properly in Borno, right? So which shares border with this kind of country or Yobe, right? Then we might also be facing that crisis, right? So again, the issue to fight terrorism goes across board. Even the banks, right? The banks are also complicities. They move their money. How do they get? Sometimes they get ransom. Sometimes they move across different. The internet, the ICT, right, is also supposed to be within the space of the intelligence to be able to do that. So there's a collapse of kind of intelligence, or maybe we'll say that there's no proper intelligence sharing, and that's why we've seen a whole lot of a successful attack. And even sometimes the terrorists, like my friend actually said in a statement, that you see them even coming online, some of those terrorists making videos and all of that, and they are doing this really because we don't have maybe an investment in technology to be able to track where these things are coming up from.
Yes,
so we certainly need to, going beyond just the list, right? Because the list, of course, will give us the idea of those persons. The names that have even been released, if they are very powerful persons, it becomes difficult to secure prosecution, right?
Yeah, well,
right.
Yeah, now talking about intelligence sharing, which I was, I think the last 2 weeks or so, when the old brigadier general was killed. Yes, another cantonment, maybe another battalion leader too was killed with some soldiers. And I was saying to myself, how can an old brigadier general be killed
In that way.
that way, captured in a base without no further
prior
information, intelligence gathering. I believe that they should have some kind of way that they will know that something is about to happen. Even if we haven't gone to the United States of America or Britain or all those other countries, even some West African countries, at least we watch films. Yes, they see all those people, these military personnel, the gather intelligence, they will know that something is about to happen. They will just put out their personnel, their military intelligence personnel. That's why they have the Directorate of Military Intelligence, DMI.
Yes.
All those other affiliated units within the military. So I don't know what is happening with this, because this one happened, the Brigadier General's incident happened. Another week, another one happened. What is happening? Do we not have the personnel or the equipment or what?
Well, we will rule out compromise. In terms of intelligence gathering, only in the spiritual that somebody will tell you, I'm seeing vision. They will tell you about prophecy. When you take that out, in every other sector, it's about intelligence. And these things don't just happen. It is somebody telling something. It is somebody asking questions. It is somebody smelling something, adding 1 + 1. I noticed this movement. I noticed this movement. I identified that, okay, this is it. So about intelligence is about what is the relationship of the security operatives, a security apparatus, with the communities, with the local people.
Yes.
They won't just be everywhere. You can imagine when security operatives are embarking on an operation and they are successfully ambushed
and killed.
Just try and relate the two. What happened? Who's supposed to be watching? Do you get? So they are embarking after we've gotten all the coast is clear, we've got our information right and everything, only for them to be ambushed. There have been reports of, just 5 minutes after the military left, there was an attack.
Yes.
We've heard report of, a superior, somebody from above, called them to withdraw, and there was an attack.
Yes.
What happened? It means compromise is somewhere, high level of it. In government, out of government, they use even some of this residents to gather information. We've had report of people in the community that give them information. By so and so time, people everybody will be around. You can come and attack. We've had report of small boys who stay in the community and yet is getting information, monitoring them, leaking this to these bad boys. So when you talk about intelligence, it's a sector that wants investment. It's what investing in. And investment starts with the right orientation for the people. If you do not believe, we are here, you work in the system, there is something you know that, I heard this. If this happens, it's going to affect this organization. You have an option. Either to be patriotic about it, this is why I earn my living, this is one of our national or state assets, nothing bad must happen to it, or you look away, that I don't care, whatever happens, it's not my father's business. With the right orientation, you will be more patriotic, you will be more
terrorists, most times I don't hear them saying that they arrested or killed people. They said they neutralize and released some captors and some captives.
Yeah.
We don't hear that they killed some people, some bandits or terrorists. We don't hear that. Or they arrested somebody. We don't hear that.
You see, international politics at times would also determine how things go. Now, you will not hear when some of these bad boys, organizations like Amnesty International, you will not hear them speak now because they have standard respect for human life and they feel there are ways how things should be done. You won't hear them when bandits are gaining grounds, killing this, killing that. They throw, the bandit at the government. But let the military, let the security operatives say, they eliminated 2,000. They eliminated this. You see some of this organization, so-called, because they feel that, that is not the standard procedure. Even if you are going to eliminate, maybe people in the conflict sector, they will understand some of these things better. that, oh, there is an acceptable way. Even if you are going to eliminate people, there's an acceptable way of doing it. And that's why I say, oh, and you know, for politics, for what it is. And that's when you hear people say, oh, they are eliminating innocent people. They are doing it. Yeah, there have been cases where, you know, targets, you know, wrong targets and what have you, error, whatever, which should not even have been in the first place. There are cases like that. But the military, for me, are we pleased with how far these guys have gone? These guys, when they go to invade the community, what is their mission? When they kill, when they maim, when they loot, when they burn down, when they do this, what is it?
Their women,
they rape their women, carry their children, and some of these people they carry away, they enlist them, they train them, you know, give them rifle, you know, their own employment strategy. They're recruiting them,
and
indoctrinate them, you know, irrespective of what your faith is, irrespective of how old, they marry some of their women. So if this is the level of atrocity these guys have done, and the military just, you know, just feel what we have to do, we have to do. And they just say they neutralize. Which one do you think will bring more soothing relief to the mind of the people? Yes, 5,000 people are facing trial. You think the public are really interested in the trial? You think people want to know? Or you think people do not even, we're sure that maybe half of them, they will let go? You don't blame the court when you don't have evidences to nail them. You don't blame the court when the court discharge them. When you cannot pursue your case with logical, and the court says, I dismiss all of this. When it's taking too long a time, you don't blame the court, but for the people. Is that what they want? Is that what we count as a result, as positive? So we won't rule out when the military say, oh, we have neutralized. Some of these success stories, this is what we, I wonder how the bandits, the terrorists, are able to take charge of the social media to push their negative and wrong narratives more than the people doing the good. Before you see any video clip or the success, military success, well edited, wrote it.
Yes.
You know why?
Well, even during their attacks, coordinated attacks.
So because they know that people who do not know, like Amnesty International and co, who don't feel the pain of, yeah, to some people feel that, oh, they are aware that by the time we roll this out, the way it is. In fact, someone was saying, when they tell you that they eliminated 20 people, someone will say, forget it. They've done more than 100. But this is the same figure that the bandits, maybe they eliminated 5 people. They will tell you it is 500. It's still in fear in the minds of the people. So it's a dicey situation for us. And we just need to be coordinated. I was wondering, if the trial of these 5,000 people, that maybe many of them will end up as foot soldiers, what would that translate to? And maybe the successful trial of 10 financiers. They have many more people to arrest. These 5,000, keep bringing them. Some of them will be let go. But let's be sure that the financiers, the ones that are into this, we're able to get them. Let's see, cut it off from the top instead of this method. I think people are more interested in, okay, how, who are those behind it? The brains behind it.
People.
The brains behind it. What is the offense of the state? What's the offense of the Nigerian nation? What do you want? Why the war against the people? Why the war against them? Just because they're trying to reach out to the government. And now banditry is now a sector thriving. Yes. I'm sure the security operatives, they don't find it easy.
I think it's just because of the way and manner the Nigerian government is handling the whole thing. Imagine you can't find this kind of issues in the global north, right? In Europe, in America, this can't even happen. They will kill it from the first time when we ever conceived that kind of notion, right? So the way we are handling it, the whole thing is where the problem is. Number one is around information technology, IT, surveillance. Our satellites, are they really working? What's the state of our